What's good, model manglers? Today, I have a very special video prepared for all of you. So today, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite volume. Why does this video feels weird already? I don't even know why, but today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite volume ones. I got 10 right here, right in front of me, and yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, I will say here though, a volume one here, I don't think any of these are true, except for maybe one. If I read volume one or maybe two, does not mean the series is good or bad. I mean, all of these series are good. All of these series are good, I'll just say that. But I'm only judging volume one. So I'm not going off anything that happens in the future of any of these manga. I'm just going off how good the first volume was. And maybe, I'm not judging it this way, but maybe I'll mention it like when I'm talking about it. So I think that's a good way to go about it. All right. So I just swallowed my gum. I think that's why I was like, it was getting kind of weird here. Uh, First, in last place, well, in 10th, but like really like not in last because it's my top 10 favorites. So like in the least best place, we have Gannibal. Gannibal Volume 1. This was obviously a fantastic Volume 1. I think it introduced probably my favorite horror premise I've ever read, ever, or really ever experienced. If you're interested in what this is about, I guess I'll go over all of them. This is basically about a guy who is a police officer who goes and like is like stationed to this town because like people keep like going missing in this town, and he goes with his wife and daughter, and originally he thinks it's kind of a weird town, but everything seems pretty normal. But sooner rather than later, he kind of realizes that everybody in this town is cannibals, and he's a police officer. So he's trying to figure out a way to, one, leave the town for them to get off his dick, and two, to bring them all to justice. And it is such a fantastic fucking premise. The art is so good. Like, just even panels like this, like, look at that art, man. It is so good. The characters are pretty decent, at least in this first volume. Later on, they get a lot better, but again, I'm not judging it off that. And yeah, this first volume was honestly just fantastic overall. I honestly, what really got me like to put it this high and to put it in my top 10 was the premise on itself, because that premise is fucking insane in my opinion, and I absolutely loved it. And the end of this volume has one of the best jump scares I've ever seen. Genuinely, an insane jump scare. Yeah, at least in manga. I'm trying to think of jump scares. Honestly, it's not on this list. Dandadan has some really good jump scares as well, but Gannibal, it's up there. It is really, really good. I'm trying to find where it's at. I don't even remember. I don't want to show it, obvious. Oh, there it is. Oh my god, it's so good. It is so good. Just the way it's paneled and everything. All right, that's number 10. Number 9. And honestly, I got this idea from the Discord, but two, I also got this idea from a volume I recently read. Not the first volume, but the third in its series. And that is Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 1, I think, was fantastic. And sad enough, remember before I mentioned though, like two of these series kind of fell off. This is one of them, because volumes 2 and volume 3 are really about the like world building and how this like power works, and like how this ghost stuff works, when volume 1 was really just about like Yusuke coming to terms with his own death and like helping people out just because that's what he wanted to do, whether it was a good or bad thing or not. He just followed his moral compass. And there are a lot of stories in here that are really sad, and it's just really nice to see how Yusuke, one, influenced them when he was alive, and how he was such a great influence when he was alive, but also how much of an influence he is when he's dead. Not just directly, but indirectly as well. Like, there's a character in here who used to fight him all the damn time, and so now he feels really unfulfilled with Yusuke not being there. And then he also has this friend here who's like latching on to this idea of him still being alive, like, and she's like, she like barely believes it, but if it means that maybe one day he'll come back, she's totally fine with believing, these crazy theories about him being a ghost, and it's just really fucking well done. It's just a genuinely great manga, and obviously some of these stories hit more than others. Like there's a story at the end with like this old man and a fox or something like that, and it's okay. And there's some other stories too. Like I'm also not a big fan with the fact that like for him to become a human, he has to do like good deeds kind of. It doesn't really like come into place later on. It doesn't really like, it's not very important, but I do feel like it's kind of a weird inclusion. And I think just being like, oh, you'll be a ghost for a little bit. But you, like, I feel like it would have been better if they said, oh, you're going to be a ghost for 2 months, but after those 2 months, you'll be human. You don't have to do anything. And you can't, and they say, like, you can't interfere with humans, but he does it anyway, because that's just the person he is, and he just wants to help people. He just follows his moral compass. And, yeah, that's Yu Yu Hakusho. It's just genuinely a fantastic first volume that I think is kind of ruined. Not this volume itself is ruined, but the series is kind of ruined by the next two. When they're not bad or anything, those next two volumes aren't bad, but they're really just not at the level of this one, in my opinion. And honestly, too, it is really difficult to make a good first volume, especially like you kind of need to know like what you want your series to be about already before even making it. So it is really difficult to do that. Next, I have Zom 100. Zom 100 is a series I feel like I really don't talk about that much, even though it's one of my favorites of all time. I fucking love this manga, and I think it does have one of the best volume ones, just because of how well it just establishes its themes, its tone. Especially that first chapter, I think is fucking fantastic about, Akira feeling that, like, the workplace is, even worse than a zombie apocalypse, and the way that's described I think is really well done. And I overall just love Zom 100's first volume, and I've recently went back to this series as well, and I do love how like graphic I feel like, because it is a manga kind of like the movie Shaun of the Dead, not really like it, but it's just the fact that it's blending two genres together, like a horror zombie manga and then a comedy manga. And I think it does both of those like exceedingly well. The horror is genuinely terrifying. Like the zombies look disgusting and horrifying. And the comedy is funny and the facial expressions are funny. And yeah, and it's just a really like, the art in this manga really gives it like this edgy tone to it that I really, really like. And I think it really helps with the like tone of this manga, and eventually later on in the manga it gets a lot more lighthearted, and it doesn't really like have this edgy tone to it as much as in the first volume. But yeah, this first volume was done really, really well in my opinion, and I just fucking enjoyed it. All right, next we have a manga that I love very much. Yeah, it's Blue Lock. Blue Lock Volume 1. This manga, honestly, same thing as Zom 100. I think it just implements its core themes and core ideologies really, really well. It obviously has ego speech about, being an egoist and being someone who puts their values first rather than other people's values. And I think it's something that gets expanded a lot more. Right now, it really does only talk about soccer, but I feel like it's something that gets expanded a lot more in the latter half of the manga, and it's something that can really be applied to like everyday life. But in at least this first volume, it is just a really interesting ideology to go about with a sports manga. Again, I don't think sports manga is a genre, but whatever. Like, it's just a really interesting ideology to take with you. And we also get the twist at the end too with who gets eliminated. We get some other stuff too, introducing Itoshi-sai. We get a lot of interesting developments in this manga, in this first volume at least. Sorry. Can you tell that I'm sick? I'm very, very sick right now. We get a lot of interesting developments in this manga, and I think they're all done perfectly. I think the main character, Isagi Yoichi, is described perfectly. And honestly, rereading this volume, it is insane how different he is in this first volume. Again, I'm not judging it based off this, but I'm just leaving it out there. How different he is in this first volume than in like the latest chapters. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it here, but in the latest chapter, the one that I think 320 something maybe, I don't know. He like is like talking to his opponent, and he's like trying to hype up his opponent so that he can beat a better opponent. Like, this is something Isagi would not do in this first volume. He wouldn't even be close to that. But in the latter half of the manga, it's insane how much he changes, and we do get a lot of good character introductions as well. You know, Kunigami. We get some stuff from Igaguri. We get some stuff from Bachira. And yeah, this is overall a fantastic first volume, and it really got me hooked in this manga, in my opinion. It really did. All right, next we got a manga that I genuinely think changed my brain chemistry after I read it. And it's kind of crazy that it's this low. Ultra Heaven, Volume 1. This is a manga about a world where basically like every drug that you could possibly think of exists, and much, much more. So there's like these pens or whatever. They have like these pens, and then you take like a pen and you like stick it in you, or like you take out a patch and you patch yourself like with it, and you're basically on like the craziest high ever. And there is a sequence at the end of this manga. I'm just looking at it right now. At the end of this manga, around halfway or like a quarter way through, and it is the craziest, most creative, most fucked up sequence I've ever read, ever, in my entire life. It is so anxiety inducing. It is so like I was just distraught reading it. I was so confused. I had so much anxiety. I just wanted it to be over. And I'm like, how the fuck do you like I can't even conceive how you even make someone feel that looking at ink on paper. That doesn't make any sense to me. But I felt it. I felt it a lot when I was reading it. Oh my god. It's just especially when you have fucking panels like this. This art, and honestly, I gotta say, the big edition really works in its favor. How the fuck am I supposed to feel with panels like this? Or like this, please no naked people. Or like this. Like, how am I supposed to feel with panels like those, where characters are going through the craziest trips of their entire life? And god, it's just so fucking good. Really, it is. Next, we have a manga with possibly the greatest premise I've ever read, ever. Versus Volume 1. I always say this is the greatest premise I've ever read, ever. Let me try to explain it. Basically, we're in like this isekai kind of world. It's more of like just a medieval world where we have like these heroes and they fight these demons. But the heroes are nowhere near close to these demons. Like they'll get slapped around with like fucking level 1. Like our best heroes will lose to like level 1 demons. Like it's not even fucking close. So the mages of this realm that we are in have an idea to basically cast a spell to bring over another universe to come help us. So they bring over another universe. But accidentally, I don't remember if it was accidentally, but they end up bringing over 16 different universes to fight these demons. But all 16 of these universes also have their own problems. So like there's one universe that is like future based and they're fighting AI, and there's another universe that's like nature based and they're fighting like evil fucking plants, and there's another one where they're fighting a kaiju, and another one where they're fighting the fucking things in Alice in Borderland, the games in Alice in Borderland. There's another one where they're fighting God. There's another one where they're fighting aliens, and it's just all fucking super duper creative, all in this one world. And there's so many fucking incredible characters that are so cool, that have such good designs, and then they don't even like combine their powers. Now their plan is, okay, let's use our villains and let's make them fight each other for us. And it's so fucking good, man. It's so fucking good. And the characters are fantastic. And the writing is fantastic. And did I mention it's by the same author as One Punch Man and Mob Psycho? In my opinion, I mean, as you can see, I don't have those two series here. It's his best work. Easily his best work. Versus is that fucking good, man. And I know my last video, or I don't know whether it's gonna come before or after the bingo video. I think maybe after. But my last video, I talked about how good Versus was. And saying like it was one of my, like, if you want to go read a good ass manga, go read Versus. Yeah, this, I need to really go back. Because I don't want to say this series because it's going to end up later in the video, but I'll say it anyway. I give Full Night the benefit of the doubt every fucking volume I read. Full Night, every time I read Full Night, I either go back to previous volumes or I go back to certain scenes I remember I loved. I never do that with Versus, but I did today, and it's fucking insane. It is genuinely an incredible manga, and I don't give it the credit it deserves, even though I talk about it like every single day. It is that good, and the art is just fantastic. There's one panel in here I remember looking at that was so good. Hold on, I need to find it, man. I feel like I show it like every time. Even though this manga is, oh my god, I just found it. Even though this manga, all the art is so good, this is like, I was genuinely just shocked on how good this was. Bro, look at this fucking art. You have the demons fighting the AI, bro. Look at that fucking art. It's so good, man. It's so fucking good. Go read Versus, actually, though. If you want to go read the best volume 1, or one of the best volume 1s ever, obviously it's not one of my favorites, but one of the best, go read Versus, because it is up there. All right, next, we have a manga with the greatest twist I've ever read, ever. Besides maybe Haikyuu. But Haikyuu, it's up there, but this is probably the best twist I've ever read. It's Bastard, volume 1. All I'm going to say, because I don't want to talk about this manga too much because of the twist. All I want to say is, the twist, first off, do not read the back. Don't read the back of this manga, because I'm looking at the back right now. The back spoils the twist, so don't read the back. The twist was so good that I figured it out before it even got revealed. And that shit still almost made me piss my pants. I'm not joking. That shit was genuinely so do you know how scary something's gotta be for you to put down the fucking volume, go to your kitchen, and then go make fucking cream cheese on toast to fucking relax? Do you know how scary something has to be for you to go do that? That's how fucking terrifying this manga is, man. And it is perfect for the Halloween season, because oh my god. And volume 2, I read volume 2. It's not as good as volume 1, and it's not really close either. I really don't think it's that good. I mean, okay, let me rephrase. It's fucking fantastic. Volume 2 was also fantastic, but it was not really close to volume 1. That's what I'm trying to say. But volume 1 was just that good that I have to give it praise. I have to. And obviously I have to put it on this list. Okay. Next, we have a manga that I have quoted has the greatest first chapter I have ever read, ever. And I still think that. And that is Naruto Volume 1. Naruto, I don't talk about this manga at all. I never do. I really just don't care about it that much. I'm going to be honest. This is also, when I said there's 2 manga here that have kind of fallen off, this is also one of them. But I've read 4 volumes of it, so, like, what the fuck do I even know? This first chapter is the best first chapter I have ever read, ever. The characterization of Naruto, the characterization of, like, his sensei, like, mentor character, the writing with that, oh my god, it is so fucking good. And it's so insane how quick the author's able to make me care about these characters and care about this world. And it is just that fucking good, man. It's just that good. And then later on in this volume, the reason I couldn't put this number 1, I promise you, if the rest of this volume followed the quality of the first chapter, this would be number 1. I'm genuinely serious. I think all of you know what my number 1 is. This would be number 1. And this is number 3. So like that's how damn good that first chapter was. And we do get other stuff later on. Like there is a scene that I really really like, and it might be my favorite scene in this volume, but where Naruto like does like a jutsu spell, whatever. I don't know what the fuck Naruto's about, but he does some kind of jutsu or something, and he like pretends to be Sasuke, and he like goes up to Sakura, being like, "How do you feel about Naruto?" And she's like, fucking, like she's insulting the fuck out of Naruto, like, and he's Naruto, like he's pretending to be Sasuke, but he's Naruto, and he hears this, and it's like so depressing to hear this, and Naruto not even being mad. He's not even like, damn, I guess she doesn't really like me anyway. I'll just give up, because he's like in love with her for whatever reason. He's not even mad about it. And it's just so sad to see someone so used to being belittled and like kicked to the curb just kind of accept that that's the way people feel about him. And he has to do like, and he doesn't even think like, oh, like these people suck or whatever. Like he just feels that like, if I do these things, and if I do the things that, grant me greatness, people will like me. And it's so fucking sad, man. It really is. And you get this really deep sense of loneliness from Naruto, and it's expressed perfectly, in my opinion. It is so fucking good. But then after that, it gets kind of boring, I'm gonna be honest. Like the 2 bell test or whatever, they had the bells, and like, you have to fight me and go get the bells. It's just kind of boring. And then there's another chapter here where Naruto's like talking to a kid, and like he's like trying to mentor this kid or whatever, and that one's also kind of boring. So like this volume isn't perfect by any means, but for a first chapter to be that damn good, and for it to still end up 3 on this list, like it's got to be pretty good. All right, next we got a series. When I was ranking these, I knew what my top 10 were going to be. Honorable mention, though, for number 11, The Fable. That is a very good honorable mention. But honestly, it gets kind of better later on. So I don't, like, Volume 1 is fucking fantastic, but it's not like it's its peak or anything. I mean, that's also true for a lot of these, but you know what I mean. But when I was making my list and I was ranking these manga, I did not think this manga would end up this high. But after thinking about it and rereading a lot of scenes from a lot of these volumes, I kind of realized that like this is the greatest manga I've ever read ever. Like that's not true, but it's up there. Like it's up. Eventually one day I will do a top 10 objectively best manga I've ever read ever. Because I always say that like, oh, this manga, like I never really like to say this manga is objectively the best thing ever, or this manga is objectively this, because it's a subjective medium. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. For something to be objectively good, it would have to be an objective medium, like math. Like math, 1 + 1 objectively equals 2. That's just a fact. But manga is a subjective medium. Like there is no truths in manga. So, like that would be kind of a dumb thing to say in my opinion. But I do want to like get off my chest the 10 manga that I do think are objectively, but like on paper, the best things I've read. Even if I'm not as emotionally attached to them. Kind of like a recommendation video, but kind of not. Let me just finish this video up, and then maybe I'll go film it. I don't know. By the way, live stream, I guess yesterday, because this will probably come out Monday or Wednesday. I don't know. It's Magus of the Library. I really don't think I've mentioned it before. Magus of the Library. Magus of the Library. Let me spell it out. Because I remember one time on a video, I was talking about... Okay, I'll just... Number 1's Full Night, guys, by the way. I just had to mention that. I was talking about Full Night, and someone typed it. Someone was like, I'm going to go read Full Night, but in the comments, they put it as Full and then night, as in Knight. So that's obviously not the way you're supposed to spell it. So sometimes I have to be slow with these pronunciations. Magus of the Library. This is a manga about a little boy who loves reading, who wants to be like one of the greatest librarians. And like there's like a giant in this manga, there's like a giant ass library in the center of the town, and he really wants to work at that specific library. And to work there, you need to be like the smartest fucking individual ever. Well, like not, but like it's very nuanced, but yeah, you have to like do that. I also mentioned this in my other video, my talking about how my goal of this channel is to get people to read more underrated manga rather than just growing it. And I talked a lot about how this manga creates, how this manga talks about stuff like racism and bigotry and stuff like that. And while, yes, those are all true and those are all positives of this manga because it's one of the most creative ways I've ever seen it, I also want to talk about how well this manga is able to create just these creative ass sequences in their volumes. And yes, this first volume is fucking fantastic and one of the best things I've ever read ever. There's a scene in here that I am so shocked was so good. I almost made a video about it. I almost literally stopped the manga and made a video about it. And there's a scene in here where they're basically just going over the history of books and like really the history of like text and like just writing in general. So they talk about like rolls of like paper, and they talk about like scriptures and like the fucking stone tablets and shit and hieroglyphics. They talk a lot about that, right? And I expected when we were getting into it, I expected it to be the most boring conversation I've ever read because I fucking don't care. I don't care. But they do it in such a creative way. Panel-wise, art-wise, direction-wise, they do it in such a creative way that I couldn't help but be immersed in this manga. I couldn't help it. And it's just, I don't know how to talk about this manga without just saying the words. It's just that fucking good. Because it really is just that fucking good. And it's just, oh my God, man. And the art is like that good too, man. The art is also that good as well. I don't know how to talk about this manga without glazing it to epitome. All right. Final manga. I mean, I already mentioned it like 3 times. It's Full Night, obviously. Come on, guys. I think in every single time I have talked about Full Night, or at least talked about it in like a sense of like recommending it, I have always said it is the greatest first volume I've ever read, ever. And I'm going to give my reason. This is a manga. I'm going to talk about a scene here because it's probably my favorite scene I've ever read, ever. Genuinely. And it might be my favorite scene I've ever read, ever. Like, okay, there's some scenes in Real. There's some scenes in Blue Period. There's some scenes in Haikyuu. There's some scenes in The Boxer that are probably better than them. Like, if I go back and read them. I just want to talk about this one, though. This manga is basically about a world where, what's it called? Like, the world is like, there's basically a shit ton of pollution in the air, and we basically blocked out the sun. The sun has been blocked out. So, since we got no fucking trees and we need oxygen, humans have started to go on this surgery called transfloration, where they take a human, they put seeds inside of him, and over the course of 2 years, they become a plant. That's basically the plot of this manga. And our main character basically has like the worst life fucking ever. And he goes on and he goes with this surgery. Well, before it, he drinks like all the chemical water ever so that he can get a disease so he can be allowed to take the surgery. But him getting the surgery and then having the chemical water has some fucking reaction in his body where he can be able to hear plants. So there are like, like there's like plants like sitting on the counter or something, and he can hear their thoughts or like at least hear their feelings. And there's a certain scene, and he kind of like now starts to work as this like private investigator who helps other people with him like being able to hear stuff. And his first mission is helping this piano player get over the trauma that her dad gave her. And she like was beaten, she was abused, but to be taught to play the piano. And I'm just gonna read you uh, what it says. So basically, she's trying to come with terms on what her dad was to her. And she goes, "Were you a good dad or a terrible one? Can you just be one or the other? But I can never forgive you for physically abusing me. You were totally wrong to do that." You translate, going to the main character. Translate it. And then he goes, "I just hear plans. I can't speak it. Do what you have to do to make sure he understands. I can't fight him if I'm the only one in the ring." And he's like, "Oh fuck, I can't fucking translate this shit." And then he goes, the way Spiriflora talk, which are plants, it sounds like some sort of weird electrical interference. I can't make sounds like that. And then she goes, "You tell him this. Tell him that I don't forgive him." And then he goes, "I'm telling you, I can't." And this is the panel we got. And you turn the page and you see her as a kid just going, "Please." And I'm tearing up right now. Every fucking time I read that scene, I like genuinely tear up. Cause that is like that's one of the best scenes I've ever read, man. Ever. And I don't know why. I should be able to articulate my thoughts on why I like a certain scene and why something is so good and makes me so emotional. But I fucking can't. Cause it's just that good. It's just that good. It's just that good. Yeah. God, I'm looking at the other fucking. So good, man. All right, those were my. Every time I do something like this and I try to read out a scene, I always feel like it's fucking awkward as shit. I mean, obviously, all of this is awkward because I'm talking to a camera right now. I always feel like it's awkward as shit, just trying to describe a scene because I'm like, I'm not even trying to describe the scene for you. I'm trying to describe the emotions I felt towards that scene. And then my answer to that is reading out the scene for you like I'm reading out to kindergartners. So, yeah. All right, that's going to be the end of the video. Maybe I'll do like going over my top 10 endings. I feel like that would be pretty cool. Yeah, that would actually be a pretty cool idea. And I think I'll do that next time. Yeah. See you guys later. Bye.